It is 6 a.m. and right now on Denver7 News, new coronavirus cases continue to hit record highs.
When it comes to the spread of the coronavirus, we're on a very dangerous path.
New restrictions are in place across the metro, and businesses are doing what they can to remain positive.
But it's so hard just to pay the bills right now.
The coronavirus is the first order of business for President-elect Joe Biden.
This is the time to heal in America.
A look at his plan to curb increasing numbers nationwide.
Plus, the snow fell in the high country this weekend. Now the Front Range is up next. Quite the change from last week, but of course the ski resorts are loving it this morning. Good Monday morning to you. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Molly Hendrickson. Glad to have you here with us. We have a Denver7 Weather Action Day in effect for snow across the Front Range. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo joins us from her home weather center. And Lisa, the snow will build throughout the day.
Yeah, it's likely going to be by early afternoon, after lunch, when we'll start to see some of that. You might find a few light flurries this morning. You can see very little activity on satellite and radar at this point. Parts of Larimer, Jefferson, potentially Boulder counties on the western edges, seeing a few light snow showers early on, but it's going to be more so by lunch that we'll get more activity here in town. As far as temperatures go, it's a cold one. We're in the 30s this morning, not much of a warm up. We'll see maybe mid to upper 30s by early afternoon, and then it gets colder from there. So if your kids are of the few that maybe have a few more days still at school before remote learning starts, I know mine are. Here's your bus stop forecast. We'll be in the 30s this morning, 30s this afternoon, and there is going to be that chance for some light snow by the time they get off the bus. I'm going to take you through our Futurecast hour by hour here through the afternoon and show you that snow and how much we're expecting here in town coming up. But Jason, likely for the evening commute, the roads will just be wet.
And right now, no weather worries to worry about if you're here in Metro Denver, but up in Telluride, you can see how much snow they have up that way. There are some restrictions in the Colorado mountains right now because of all the snow that we've seen, and that includes parts of I-70. Take a look at the drive here in town, a gorgeous sunrise as we're looking from 6th and Federal. This is the eastbound side. There was a report of a stall in here going from eastbound 6th Avenue to I-25. I'm not seeing it yet, but I'll keep an eye on that situation. The rest of the drive looks pretty good, including here on I-70. No issues there, but this route, 270, I-76, and I-25 will be some of the first routes to load up for us here this morning. But so far, so good. Anywhere you want to go, nice and quiet on this early Monday morning.
Thanks, Jason. State and local officials warn Colorado is on a dangerous path with new COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations not slowing down. More than 6,000 new coronavirus cases were added over the weekend. Yesterday's daily count was more than 3,000. But the most concerning number for health officials is the hospital beds in use. More than 1,100 beds are in use by patients with or suspected of having COVID. You can see the graph on the right is near the peak where we saw back in April on the left.
We have team coverage this morning on the new restrictions already in place and the ones going into effect today. So we'll get to Nicole Brady with more restrictions in Jefferson County here in just a minute. But we want to start with Micah Smith, who is live in Denver along Larimer Square, where the city's new Home at 10 order goes into effect.
Brian and Molly, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock says that dangerous upward trend of hospitalizations is also happening here in Denver, and he's hoping that this new order will help bring that number down. Just a reminder, if you live in Denver, this order means that you must be home by 10 p.m. and must stay there until 5 a.m. unless you are an essential worker or you need to leave for a critical reason. All liquor sales must end by 10 p.m. and restaurants like the ones here at Larimer Square, where I am this morning, must be closed to in-person dining by 10, but can still offer drive-through or delivery service after 10. We asked a few Denver residents to share their thoughts on the first night of curfew, and they had mixed feelings.
I don't think the new rules affect us for the most part because of the baby. We're not going out past 10 anyways. But if that's what's needed to keep the commingling down between households, then I guess I'm okay with it.
I really disagree with it because it seems like you're putting a time limit on when you can come and eat.
Although city leaders say this order was necessary, it's yet another blow to businesses, especially restaurants and bars. Coming up at 6:30, we'll take a look at the impact of this on that industry. Reporting live, Micah Smith, Denver7.
All of the tents set up behind you for the outdoor dining as well. Thank you, Micah. New COVID testing kiosks are opening this morning across the Front Range. They provide an easy-to-administer oral fluid test swab. One opens in Greeley at 9 o'clock this morning on the University of Northern Colorado campus. Another one like it will be at DIA. Walk-ups are allowed, but you can also make a reservation. There are now more than 50 free testing sites across Colorado.
New restrictions go into place today in Jefferson County. The state is moving the county from this yellow level of concern to the orange level of high risk. And Denver7's Nicole Brady joins us live this morning. Nicole, this not good. It is one step below a stay-at-home order.
You can see it right there, Molly, one step below red. Jeffco's new status will take effect at 5 p.m. and the county will be updating its public health order to reflect this move from yellow to orange. So some of the changes that you'll notice immediately: restaurants, retail, offices, and places of worship will now be limited to 25% capacity inside, down from 50% under the yellow status. Group sports also can only take place outside in groups of up to 10 people. We do want to point out, though, that the Jeffco Public School District is not making any changes to in-person learning for now. Jeffco public health officials say they understand people are experiencing pandemic fatigue, but just choosing to stay home 2 or 3 more times per week than you have been could make a big difference. And really, if you can stay home, consider it a luxury.
There are some members of our culture and our society who don't have the luxury of sick leave. And while they do go in and maybe they're wearing a mask, unfortunately, they need that paycheck.
And Dr. Huffman also notes healthcare workers are at a heightened risk right now with all of these hospitalizations. Currently, more than 100 people are hospitalized with COVID in Jefferson County. That's more than double from a week ago. Brian.
All right, thanks, Nicole. Just in this morning, Pfizer says its COVID vaccine is showing promise, and the company will seek regulatory review this month. They say it is 90% effective, which is better than they expected. Dr. Fauci said this weekend a successful vaccine could help us return to normal within months if enough people take it.
I think we're going to be going in the right direction towards approaching some degree of normality as we head into 2021 in the second, third, and fourth quarter of 2021.
Right now, the U.S. has 6 vaccine candidates in the works.
This morning, President-elect Joe Biden will announce his COVID task force. He has made it clear ending COVID is his #1 priority. Biden is expected to name former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy and former FDA Commissioner David Kessler to lead the group. He has plans to double the number of testing sites and invest in at-home testing. Biden also plans to create a dashboard to let Americans monitor virus transmission by zip code and call on governors to mandate masks. And this announcement comes as the Trump administration continues to file lawsuits over the results of the election. Today, Rudy Giuliani is expected to file a lawsuit to challenge the conduct of elections officials in Pennsylvania. You can see ABC News called the state for Biden as he was leading by 43,000 votes. Trump's team plans to take cases to the Supreme Court. Cases have already been dismissed in Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada.
President Trump has not conceded the race yet. He's still making claims of voter fraud without any widespread evidence, but some inside his circle are reportedly asking him to accept defeat. According to sources with CNN, both senior advisor Jared Kushner and First Lady Melania have told the president to come to terms with the election. Former President George W. Bush says he called Joe Biden and Kamala Harris yesterday to congratulate them on their victory. He says the election was fundamentally fair and said Joe Biden's win was clear.